This episode of The Therapy Show is sponsored by Therapy Notes. Why not find out what more than 100,000 mental health professionals already know and try Therapy Notes for 2 months absolutely free? Just click on the link in the show notes or enter promo code LISA at therapynotes.com. Welcome to the Therapy Show podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard. In each episode, I interview a seasoned and knowledgeable talk therapist from the counseling world to glean valuable insights, techniques, and tools that you can apply to your practice and your life. And if you're considering a career in the counseling field or just want to hear about what it's like to be a talk therapist, then this is the podcast for you. Well, hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Therapy Show. This is a kind of a personal episode. I hope you guys will find this a fun and different kind of way of doing things, but I am recording this super early in the morning. And if you go over to YouTube, you can actually see how great I look first thing in the morning. I got my favorite mug, which says "Go Your Own Way," which I've had this mug, I don't know, my mid 40s, and it's kind of been my motto. I have a couple mottos, but one of them being "Go Your Own Way," and to me that means like, you do you figure out your path and don't be afraid to go for things. And so this episode is 5 things I've learned since turning 50. Now, a lot of these things I'm going to share I learned really in my 40s, but they have solidified in my 50th year, which I turned 50 not even 2 months ago. Do I feel any different? Do I notice anything? Like nothing magically changed, or no magical feels happened at 50. In fact, leading up to my 50th birthday, like a couple months, I was really nervous. I didn't like talking about it. Like I would get like this weird sensation in my throat, almost like I was like I couldn't talk about it. And I'm sure I could probably process that with a psychoanalyst or Jungian therapist out there. But what I realized, of course, is that I just wasn't ready. I hadn't accepted it. And as my husband was saying, he's like, it's better than the alternative. And so, and it's just a number. It's not anything more than a number, how many years you have lived on this planet. So when I hit 50, actually, it was a great day. And ever since then, I don't know, maybe I thought something was going to happen, but I've really kind of eased into it. And I'm kind of like, wow, I'm 50. Am I supposed to feel a certain way? Am I supposed to act differently? And I've been listening actually to a lot of podcasts about midlife stuff. And one of the things that really cracks me up is when I was, I don't know, in my early 20s, late teens, the Golden Girls was out. And that show, I think they were supposed to be in their 50s. And those ladies looked so much older than we do at 50 now. So I just find that really funny and weird that those women were in their 50s with like their gray hair and their leisure suits. And here I am at 50 and I'm still coloring my hair. I'm still, going to the gym and working out. It's just like a very different image of what 50 is these days. So, all right, let me talk about 5 lessons I've learned. The first one is I'm going to just put out there self-acceptance. And as I mentioned, that is something that I really learned in my 40s, but at 50, it just feels so much more solidified. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I'm much more able to work within them and not against them so much. And I have found that self-acceptance really has helped my mental health and my well-being. It's allowed me to live authentically, make decisions that align with my values. Y'all know I am a huge advocate of knowing what your values are and living them out congruently and authentically. And that's what makes your life, live your best life kind of thing. It's helped me form healthier relationships. And of course, self-acceptance, I believe, is tied closely to self-esteem and self-compassion. So when you can accept yourself, it can lead to more a positive self-view and a kinder approach to when you make a mistake. And I really have experienced that. And it doesn't mean like self acceptance is all about complacency or ignoring areas of growth and improvement. Actually, it means the opposite, that I recognize and accept my current state while also knowing that there is potential for change and for growth. So that's been, lesson number one. Lesson number two is all about health and prioritizing health. But once again, I did learn that in my 40s, because in my early 40s, I made the commitment to living an optimal and vibrant, healthy life. And what does that mean? So I kept up my strength training, my healthy eating, which I definitely helped me cope with midlife hormonal shifts. Um, and I also focus on getting quality sleep as well as working to manage my stress. And having those things, really solidified as a lifestyle in my 40s has helped me as I shift into my 50s. And I hear a lot of women say that it's too late to get into shape at this stage in their lives. And I really disagree with that idea because if it's something that you desire, something you really want, then get super clear on your intention and how you're going to make it happen. And I think because, like I said, I made those things part of my lifestyle in my 40s, like I went through all that work in my 40s, it's paying off now that I've hit midlife. Sure, things will change. I'm not denying that. I mean, it may not always be this way, but I'm not competing really against a younger version of me. I'm working to feel good in my skin and live a healthy lifestyle at the current age that I am. So, I don't necessarily I don't worry about, like the perception or perceived or what I think, a 50-year-old should look like. And it's definitely not Golden Girls, right? But for me, this is my 50. This is like how I'm handling it. And I have asked, some women have asked me, if I have experienced the hormonal shifts of midlife and not really. Like, I mean, I'm sure some stuff is going on, but I honestly haven't. I mean, every now and then, yes, I will feel like, I'll get hot, I'll get those hot flashes, I can't sleep, those things will pop up. But besides that, it hasn't been like a horrible experience yet. No, I'm sure some things are coming that I'm fully not prepared for, and I will, cross those mountains when I get to them. But I'm hopeful that, the lifestyle that I have created for myself will carry me into my 50s. And now I do notice things like, my skin is changing, it's drier, more wrinkles, more, sunspots. But, that to me is like, I've earned those things. I've lived 50 years on this planet and, I get asked, will I use, the Botox or will I do fillers? Like, I don't know. I mean, right now I'm just kind of going with it and, like seeing what happens. And yes, I do color my hair. That is something. And I've thought about going gray completely, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Like, I just don't think I'm ready for that Golden Girls gray look yet. All right, let me move on to the next one. Try Therapy Notes, the #1 rated electronic health record system available today. With live telephone support 7 days a week, it's clear why Therapy Notes is rated 4.9 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot.com and Google. Therapy Notes makes billing, scheduling, note taking, and telehealth incredibly easy. And now, for all you prescribers out there, Therapy Notes is proudly introducing ePrescribe. And if you're coming from another electronic health record, Therapy Notes makes the transition quite simple, importing your demographic data free of charge so you can get going right away. So why not find out what more than 100,000 mental health professionals already know and try Therapy Notes for 2 months absolutely free. Just click on the link in the show notes or enter the promo code Lisa at therapynotes.com. Try it today with no strings attached and see why everyone is switching to Therapy Notes. So the third lesson is the value of time. I have definitely gained a deeper appreciation for the value of time and the importance of spending it with loved ones and on activities that truly matter. I'm much more focused on how I'm spending my time and where I put my energy. And you guys, I don't know if you know this, but this podcast is a big part of my creative outlet. And I love, love, love creating content for it. I mean, I could think all the time about this podcast and the guests that I want to bring on and the solo episodes that I want to do. And I mean, I could just do it all the time. I love it that much. I mean, I've also realized that, our girls are only going to be the ages that they are for a short amount of time. And eventually they're going to be moving out of this house. And it's probably going to be here sooner than I realize. And I've had that realization at 50, like, slow down, Lisa. When your kids are around, do you really want to be thinking about the podcast? Do you really want to be focusing on creating content for it? Do you want to be sitting down at your computer typing out all your ideas? Or do you want to be spending time with them and hanging out with them? And, I don't always want to do what my kids want to do because they're like preteens, teen girls. And, sometimes I'm like eye rolling, like I'm sure I did to my mom. But, now it seems much more important and much more important, I guess, that I experience those moments versus getting up and going in the other room and doing what I really want to be doing, which is, sometimes focusing on the podcast and creating content, but really just being present with them and in the moment. And that's why I've been recording earlier and earlier in the morning over the summer, is because I want to be around with them when they're up and when they need, help doing things. It's been super busy. I'll tell you guys, summer and work and podcast and kids is just super busy. And every year I'm surprised by it. I don't know why, but I've been doing this for a while now, so I need to plan for it better. But anyway, value of time important. And also with my mom and my stepdad and my sister, like, knowing that, 10 years ago, it's like, I'll see him when I see him. But now it's like, no, it needs to be planned. It needs to happen. It can't just be talked about like it's going to happen in the next, 6 months. I feel like more of the timeline is, it's just important to be spending more time with family. But anyway, so the value of time, and that's a lesson that I'm learning a good bit as I am in my 50s. And it is not all about my timeline either. It's about, recognizing and being available for others who I care about and love. Okay, so the next thing that I've learned is resilience. And, gosh, many so by the age of 50, you could just say that a lot of people, many people have gone through a variety of life's ups and downs. And this sometimes leads to the realization of our own resilience and ability to overcome challenges for a lot of people. However, and it does do the flip for a lot of other people too. So keep that in mind. Not everybody has a resilient mindset. In therapists, I think that's part of the work that we do, is helping our clients see that they are resilient. But anyway, I digress. But this is one of the best lessons that I've learned, because it has helped make me a better therapist as well as a better person, woman. And I could tell you guys about things that I experienced in my teens and in my 20s. I've mentioned them here and there on the show before, but those things really, at the time, they sucked. Going through them sucked. And just to recap, if y'all don't know, my parents got divorced when I was around 11, and it was really tough. That was in the 80s, and not a lot of people were, well, I mean, divorce was just kind of becoming a thing back then. And it just tore, and it kind of tore our families apart. At least in my mind, it tore our families apart. I just saw a lot of, from my perspective, I saw a lot of side taking. I saw a lot of, grown-ups talking around kids, and, looking back as a parent, like, would never do that, but that's them. I don't fault them for it. They were doing the best that they knew how to do back then. And dealing with I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, emotionally immature parent. And then on top of that, eventually when I was in high school, my father did some, fraudulent things and was sent to federal prison. And that was a really big, you know, I don't know. It's just really sad part of my life. I don't want to really get too much into that. I've done all the work with my therapist around that, but I am tearing up just thinking about it. And then of course, as a woman in her 20s, those things imprint. Like, I made some choices in relationships that probably weren't the healthiest. And anyway, getting to where I am now at 50, those lessons that I've learned, they've truly made me resilient. And it's so to some of y'all, that might not sound like a lot because you've been through more. Maybe, you've been through harder times. And like I tell my clients, your struggles and your issues are yours and they are your truth. And if they've made an impact on your life and you're struggling, then it's all valid. So, um, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I went through that, like, and I went through learning how to become resilient instead of, letting things bring me down. And I think that they have definitely made an imprint and molded me into the person that I am today. And it's taken a lot of work for me to grow from them and to move forward from them. But in at 50, it's like having those things in my back pocket. It's like I can do hard things. I can choose to grow. I have choices here. I have learned that I can do hard things. And I mean, I've learned so many things, of course, from those times in my life. And I won't go into all of that here because I don't want to do that to y'all. But it's something that has really, I don't think I realized until late 40s, early 50s that I'm a pretty resilient person. And other things, of course, have happened in my career that have made me resilient. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty fascinating to think about that at this point in my life. So now my motto is go your own way, as well as I can do hard things. I choose to grow. I have choices here. All right. Last but not least, the fifth thing that I have learned is that I am a lifelong learner. And I feel like this is a really fun lesson. So in my 40s, I learned how to podcast. I learned how to market my courses. I learned how to get a sponsor for my podcast. And that's therapy notes that you guys hear at the pre-roll and the mid-roll. I'm so grateful for them. They make it possible for me to have a podcast and to be able to continue to bring you guys episodes and to bring you, the pod courses and help you expand your professional career, I hope, with what I'm sharing on my show. And I wonder, what am I going to learn in my 50s? So I'm excited to see what comes my way, what kind of learning opportunities present themselves. But you know what my very, very secret learning is, my secret yearning to learn right now is, and I'm sharing this with you guys because I don't want to just talk about it like my husband says. I want to be about it. So I feel like if I tell you about it, maybe, no, not maybe, I need to make it happen. But I want to learn how to play beach volleyball. I mean, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I want to learn how to play beach volleyball. I feel like I would just love it. My daughters tell me first I have to learn how to pass, which of course I totally get that. But at 50, I feel like there's got to be a coach out there who's patient and kind and will teach a 50-year-old woman how to play beach volleyball. So if you know anybody out there that in South Carolina who's a beach volleyball coach and you want to hook me up, connect me, I would appreciate it. That would be really, really fun. So if you happen to see me out on some beach volleyball court here in South Carolina, don't laugh. Okay. All right. So those are the 5 things that I have learned since turning 50, or maybe not really since turning 50, but are solidifying as I go into my 5th decade. So I hope you guys found this episode, fun, a little bit different than prior episodes. I hope if you, whatever age you're turning this year, think about what you've learned and where you've been, where you are today and where you want to go. And if you're struggling with that, if you're a midlife woman and you're struggling and you are looking for a life coach, then definitely reach out to me. I am taking on a handful of new clients and I can share more about my life coaching packages if you're ready to get going. I would love to assist you. And you can live anywhere. You don't have to live in South Carolina for life coaching. That's just for therapy. But if you live anywhere and you're a midlife woman and it's something that you want maybe you're stuck with your relationships, you're stuck with your health, you're stuck with anything, just, feel free to reach out and we can get you going. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a great weekend and I know I will talk to you soon. So take care. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine.
Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover more fantastic content.
And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.